All right, we have got to discuss this week's episode of Love and Marriage Huntsville. So let's just hop right into it. So go and grab you a snack or get you something to drink because we got a lot to discuss. Now, right off the bat, we got to discuss Tisha coming back into this restaurant. So I guess Tisha has a change of heart and she decides to come back into the restaurant, and her and Nell decide to get on good terms. Now, part of me feels like the producers stepped in and said, hey, you need to go and fix this with Nell. To be honest, they probably was like, hey, you need to move this damn story along because I'm not wasting no more energy on this shit. I'm tired, boss. I'm tired. But for the life of me, I can't understand how Tisha got on good terms and then she went back to her husband and started talking crap. Y'all sitting up here joking about Nell being a life coach. Like, come on now. All that wasn't even necessary. And now Nell gonna watch the clip back and she gonna be done with you again. Tisha don't really want to be friends with that lady. All right, now fast forward to Maurice having this conversation with Kimmy about him having a little sit down with Martell. Now Maurice comes off like he's trying to help Martell. Like he wants to get Martell back to his old self. And Kimmy is just like, Martell is who he is. We have done all we can do with Martell, and Martell is going to be who Martell wants to be. And you know, I agree with Kimmy. Like, Martell is not playing a role. He is the person he presents himself to be. But I also feel like Martell is acting this way because he is on the defense. He feels like he has to go up against everybody, so he's pulling out the big guns. Now, at times, I do feel like Maurice is very genuine, and he wants the best for Martell. And maybe he wants his old friend back, right? But then I have other times where I'm like, I think Maurice is on some keep your enemies close type situation. But drop down in the comments and let me know if y'all think Maurice is being genuine or is this a role. All right, so now we get to this sit down with Maurice and Martell. Now, this is the conversation that we have been waiting to hear. So Maurice opens the conversation by, telling Martell, man, I think you've been going through some stuff lately. I want to help you. Like, I want you to get back to where you were, because you're getting comfortable in this villain role. And you could tell Martell is calling bullshit on this conversation. At the end of the day, these guys were really close friends, so they know each other pretty well, right? So Martell is like, man, I'm good. I ain't went through nothing. I ain't going through nothing. I'm moving on with Ariane. We working on things. And of course, we all know Martell went through something. This crazy divorce, this whole situation with the kids and Mel. But I think Martell is playing like this tough guy role. Like, oh, can't nothing break me. And I think Maurice thought that would kind of soften Martell up a little bit, but it really didn't. Martell is like, hey, I told them to stop talking about me. I didn't want to talk about Tisha. I don't want to talk about Marceau, but they made me do it. And you know what? When Martell said this, it made me think, you know what? I feel like he's kind of just dropping little hints about things that have been going on, but it's so much more to this situation. And I'm sure the guys have stuff that they can tell on Martell, but it would still incriminate them if they brought those things up. Because Martell ain't in no marriage. What could they tell about Martell right now and people would be like, oh my God, I can't believe he did that. It wouldn't even matter. So it would just best serve them to just be on good terms with him. And that's what I think Maurice is trying to do. But then Martell brings up the whole situation with Maurice not having his back when they were discussing the court situation at the reunion. And Maurice is just like, well, as a lawyer, you ain't supposed to be telling all your business like that. I know your lawyer told you not to talk. I know your lawyer said all of this stuff could be used against you. And what did you do? You went ahead and said it. And I could understand where Maurice is coming from in this situation because he is a lawyer. So why would he condone Martell up there speaking about this case that's going on? He didn't even speak about his own situation. But at this point, we know Martell can't hold water. Hell, Martell couldn't even hold his laugh in when Maurice was telling him how he hit a pole and an animal that night. I think Maurice was so pissed off on the inside that Martell sitting up here laughing at him. That situation probably traumatized that man. How was he up there laughing? And then talk about this is something his son would lie about. Child, Martell don't take nothing serious. But I am glad that Maurice finally addressed this whole drunk driving situation because it was still a mystery. But why did he have to wait until he had to sit down with Martell to even bring it up? Like, everybody wanted to know what happened that night. But then they get to the Vegas conversation. And Martell didn't really hold back. He said he was there in the beginning when Marceau, the other lady, and Maurice was in the room. And Maurice was like, okay, you said in the video with the lady that you wasn't there. And that's when Martell is like, I was there in the beginning, but then I went gambling. So I was there, but I wasn't watching y'all have sex. That's when Maurice starts questioning him about, okay, well, if you was there, did you see what my penis looks like? Because it's very distinctive. And child, I'm just like, Maurice, for real? So Maurice does admit to them going to Vegas. Now, I'm thinking he did this because that can be proven. But I want to know what really happened in Vegas. Because Maurice is thinking that this woman was paid by Martell to lie. Now, even though that is possible, that lady said Marceau owed her some money because she ended up having to pay for her things when she got out there. Now, where does this story come from? Because that could also be her ammunition for coming out and telling this story. And then Martell is like, well, if I'm lying, then sue me. And I said, you know what? You got you one there, Martell. Because if he is lying, sue him for defamation. Your character is on the line. Sue him. Yeah, but they don't want to do that because if you sue him, he gonna have to come out with everything he know. And they don't want to risk that. Hell, I wouldn't need the child. That's why I say if you don't want your secrets to get out, do not tell nobody. Don't do it with nobody. But they knew to have this meeting with Maurice instead of Marceau because this shit would have went all the way left and Marceau would have had all of them looking bad. So now let's get to this sit down with Marceau, Maurice, and Kimmy. Now for the life of me, I still can't understand why Kimmy was at this meeting. I've thought of so many reasons and the only thing that I could really sit with is the fact that Kimmy is in on the scheme. And she could possibly be here because she wants people to know that, oh, we're not hiding secrets in our relationship. And that's fine, right? Do what you do. It's your marriage. But when people start talking about transparency, don't wait until Marceau starts spilling stuff about Maurice and then you're just agreeing with Marceau because you can't address Maurice. But anywho, as Maurice is updating Marceau on this whole conversation he had with Martell, I'm noticing Marceau is not really saying much. Now, everybody already knows y'all went to Vegas, right? But nobody is saying, yeah, we went to Vegas for this reason. Everybody is just denying that they had sex with this girl. But if somebody told me I did something on a trip that I didn't do, I'm going down the list of things that I did do on the trip. And nobody is doing that in this case. And I'm just wondering what's going through Kimmy's head during this conversation. Because how long were y'all out of town? And what did y'all do while y'all were there? Because Martell said he went gambling. But nobody said, oh yeah, I was gambling with Martell too. Because ain't that what you do in Vegas? Was it a business trip? What type of business were you doing? This is why I got to question so much about this trip. Because nobody is saying what they did. It's like, oh, let's poke at the fact that Martell couldn't tell me what type of penis I had or what color the carpet was. It's too many holes in this story if you ask me. But now y'all got me leaning more towards the side of Martell. Because when I really sat back and thought about the stories that Martell told, I don't remember him telling too many lies. Because when he brought up the situation with Tisha sleeping with one of Marceau's friends from college, she said that happened in college. But he didn't lie about that. He just made it seem like it was something recent. But y'all, I don't know. Maybe I'm delusional. What y'all think? Do y'all think Martell is lying or do y'all think Maurice is lying? Drop down in the comments and let me know your thoughts on this episode. Because now my eyes and ears is wide open after that conversation.
If it refers to you, then it refers to you. And a hit dog will holler.